Welcome to the Big Fat Gay Podcast, where we like to talk about the things that are weighing on our minds. My name is Don. I'm a big chubby guy living here in sunny Hollywood. And today, after seeing my first blockbuster in over a year, I am ready for Mortal Donbat!
Whoa.
Mortal Donbat?
Whoa. I wish you guys could have seen the look of pain on Dan's face when Don started talking, knowing that he was going to have to follow whatever insanity.
Oh, do I have to talk that fast? Okay. Hi, I'm Dan Oliverio, author, public speaker, and chubby chaser. Yeah, I saw Mortal Kombat. Yep. Okay. And I'm very happy that I just have recovered from my second vaccination shot, which was a lot.
Yay.
A lot.
Yay.
It knocked me on my ass. And but I'm much better now. And ready to rock and roll.
Congratulations.
I'm Trevor Keyson. I'm a super chub. I also saw Mortal Kombat, but I'm more excited to play Mortal Kombat 11 and Mortal Kombat 11 : Aftermath later today, because it was
Aftermath, because you need math to get that high in the numbering. Jesus.
I need more violence than the movie provided me.
You do?
I don't think you understand how violent the games are, Michael.
I guess I don't. Hi, my name is Michael. I am a chaser, and I am all Mortal Kombat all the time. I watched the first two from the 90s on Friday. I watched the new one in IMAX on Saturday. I'm KO'd right now. I am dead on my feet. And holy shit, the movie was really violent. How is that not violent enough?
I mean, it was pretty violent.
No, I mean, you're both right. It was violent, and it is nowhere near as violent as the video game.
Yeah.
Not even close.
They didn't even, they went to the spike pit, and we didn't even get anyone uppercutted and impaled on the spike pit. But I digress.
Yeah.
This isn't a Mortal Kombat podcast.
Thank God.
Although Don and I are going to be joining the Movie Bears podcast with Brad and Jim to review Mortal Kombat.
That's
In
right.
fact, I think by the time everyone's listening to this, we will have just done it because they air live on Tuesday night. I
But
believe
you
this
can
coming
catch
Tuesday.
the recorded version.
Yeah, they'll post it on their channels. You can catch it. I'm very excited to hear what we talk about.
It's going to be a smackdown.
Back into the world of the Big Fat Gay Podcast, where Mortal Kombat is an off-topic.
Yes.
Yes, really has very little to do with our. We are eking closer and closer to the summertime, and closer to maybe, hopefully, one day doing another episode in person again. All four of us.
What a
Could you imagine?
concept.
In person, I don't know
I think-
her.
I think I'm the last holdout right now. I get my second shot. I've had one shot, and I get my second one mid-May. So maybe, hopefully by early June, we'll be able to come back stronger, better, faster.
Nice.
Shall we dive in?
That's us.
So
doing it.
let's us
Shall we
do.
get this show on the road?
Let's just get right into the pop culture. So this week,
This is all right, chasers. Gird yourselves.
so I do have to say, when I kind of gave everyone our little outline, I shared the article from Allure, but the first place I saw it from my little FET aggregator was like some small Minneapolis newspaper.
Really?
Yes, which breaking news out of
Okay.
Minnesota. Haley Hasselhoff becomes the first curve model on a European Playboy magazine cover.
And what a cover it is.
Yes, it is.
It's
Let me tell you.
she's gorgeous. She's just gorgeous. Haley Hasselhoff. Is there a relation to David
Yes.
Hasselhoff?
David
Okay.
Hasselhoff.
So the Germans, as you know, the Germans love David Hasselhoff. The French love Jerry Lewis. And so Haley Hasselhoff is the darling of the German Playboy magazine cover. Am I right?
I think it's just Euro Playboy.
It's just Euro Playboy,
Yes.
which I find remarkable. For the longest time, the Germans in particular, we've talked about the beatdown of fat people by the English and the national health system there. And for the longest time, Germany had a real problem. Well, it's not so much they had a problem with fat people. It's just they were really, really into quote unquote physical fitness. Every park had a gymnasium. They have a northern culture, so you can't go outside. So that's okay. They built sheltered places where you could work out. And it was this very physical fitness culture. And yet in Germany today, like when I would do interviews there, they were very like, oh no, some people are fat. That's how it is. What's the big deal? People should stop razzing fat people. And they've really opened up to that, particularly in the media, which I was just stunned by. And I think this is another great example of featuring a fat person on a cover. And I mean, she's done up to the nines, but wow, what an effect.
Yeah, the photo. Yeah, go check this out. It is a stunning photo. She's so sexy. I think just the overall effect is really, I don't know, it's alluring. It's really, but I think on top of that, so she shared this on her Instagram page, I believe.
Yes.
And she wrote her own message, but which I thought was really cool. But one part of it, which, I mean, you always like to hear these things. I feel like maybe it's almost obligatory, but it's just nice to be included. It's nice to go along with something like this, which is essentially a career move for her. But to also have her saying, quote, "My relationship with my body has always stemmed from my relationship with my mental well-being. With May being Mental Health Awareness Month, I feel empowered to be able to wake up and know that I get to live unapologetically myself. I hope to inspire women to face their fears of the unknown and to lead a life of purpose in which your body does not define you."
Beautiful.
Yeah, which is just, again, like I feel like we read more and more stories like this, and it's easy to kind of go like, okay, like nod, polite applause, moving on. But this is still like, this is worth applauding and saying that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and also she's like super hot.
Yeah, she's way hot. But what I like is that the coverage, like for example, by Allure magazine, which is not the cover, like she's on the cover of Playboy, but Allure is interviewing her and really talking about, okay, so what is this for you? What does this mean about your relationship with your body or about people's relationship with a fat body? And I just thought that was a wonderful way. It wasn't just another cover with another hot woman.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I suppose it couldn't be, but this was great.
I love that it made the news in Minnesota. I mean,
It's nice to hear something good coming out of Minnesota for the past couple weeks.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah. So congratulations, Haley. Keep making those covers, and yeah, I can't wait to see what the next one looks like.
yes.
Shall we? Hey, we have a throw. Is this a fat watch or is it a callback?
It's a fat watch as a Lizzo watch.
Yes. Fat watch.
Special edition.
Lizzo watch. Cue that music. It's in my head.
The return of Lizzo.
Yes. So Lizzo has partnered with Dove to work to transform social media.
That's a big job.
We've talked about the Dove Self-Esteem Project before, which I think started in 2004, and they've partnered with a lot of people. I don't think other people on my other hosts know what I'm talking about here, but there was a point where they partnered with Cartoon Network and Steven Universe to have the Crystal Gems talking about body image and body positivity, which was just delightful as a kind of way to talk to a younger audience about self-esteem and positive body image.
Yeah,
but
I would also point out that Dove was, and their parent company Unilever, was a major sponsor of a conference I went to in Canada, the National Eating Disorders in Canada, the NEDIC conference, and they were all over that, giving a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But the way that they launched this partnership, which was just a few days ago, was Lizzo shared on her Instagram page a nude photo of herself, sort of tastefully done. It's Instagram, but it was completely unedited, unglamorized. It was just her looking beautiful as ever, and I think there is something to sharing glamour photos of yourself done up with lots of makeup and maybe a little bit of retouching and all that, and that's one thing if you're going for that look. But I think it does help to say, hey, this is what a real body looks like, and this is beautiful, and I think it's a really bold way to start this. I mean, it definitely, I saw it popped up on my feed. I realized for the longest time I wasn't actually following Lizzo. I was like, what the hell's wrong with me,
Michael?
So I remedied that. It was a couple months ago. But yes, I had to. It's like, what am I doing? Because I got all my Lizzo news here. Like I didn't need to.
I'm kicking Michael off of the Zoom call. No, he's still here. Don't worry.
I'm in the shame corner. He made my box smaller on the Zoom call.
No, I'm excited to see what they do, because I mean, I love Lizzo does so much work on social media about body image and fat acceptance and just loving yourself, and Dove has done the same thing. I mean, I think, you know, while Dove is trying to sell me soap, I do feel this long ongoing campaign is very sincere. I know there's a lot of people, I know people are conflicted about it because it is, you know, a company, but like, I don't know. It's not like Maybelline or something. Like Dove, they want to sell you nice soap. Soap that
Like,
kind
it's
of makes
not like
you
you're
think
not
of,
going to buy soap, right?
yeah.
Right.
I feel like the person who is trapped in their car, forever clutching their steering wheel, is yelling at me right now.
Oh, honey.
I feel like I like that this is also focused on the mental health aspect and what the effect that can have on kids from social media. Like it's focused around encouraging parents to have what they're calling the selfie talk with their children, like basically letting them, bringing awareness around the idea that social media can really negatively impact your mental health because of your self-image and how things get portrayed.
It sounds like they're trying to do what the Melania Trump Be Best program was pretending to do.
Oh,
No.
I don't think I ever got that far in investigating that campaign, but
Oh, it was supposed to be against cyberbullying and helping people educate themselves
Oh,
on how
boy.
to avoid cyberbullying and
oh,
protect
how
themselves
funny,
from it.
how
And-
funny, how funny. And yet she's married the
Yeah.
biggest bully in the country.
Yeah. All she needed to do was take away her husband's phone and throw it in the toilet. And she
Oh, my
would've-
God.
It's an amazing work.
She
for
would
them.
have saved so many lives.
Speaking of rebooting conversations,
Oh.
Well done. Such a clever boy.
Very
Oh,
smart.
approval.
our main topic is from this. It was inspired by two different things. One was a Collider article talking about the recasting of Batwoman in the CW show, creating more diversity within this television universe, and how all of these major franchises are working to make shows more diverse. But in the Collider article, she specifically says, you know, we need to see this with body diversity. We need to see this, you know, with representation of fat bodies, working to kind of, you know, eliminate the whole fat joke thing. And then there was also an article about Gemma Collins from The Only Way is Essex. She also has a podcast, a major UK figure who is delightful and charming and sassy, saying she wanted to be the first female James Bond as a plus size Essex girl, and just kind of really embracing, like, go full Essex accent. But this kind of,
Which I feel like is almost like perfectly in spirit. Like James Bond has always been the, like, you know, underdog kind of, you know, scrappy. I guess that's not always true. The Daniel Craig Bond has always been like the scrappy underdog who kind of like gives no fucks and does his own thing. I feel like that image right there, that would work very well for me. I would like to see this.
But it inspired us
yes, to
Yeah.
It inspired us to think about, like, what would we like to see rebooted with either fat actors or fat characters, or like how would we fatify
Fat content.
Yeah,
really.
fat content, anything like that. So we're going to be doing some pitches as to what we would like to see or how we would reimagine some of our favorite shows if they had fatness in them.
I'm excited. I'm very excited. This is
Yeah. And we left it fairly open-ended, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't think any of us really has any clue where this is going to go from each of our points of view. So should we come up with an order here? Like, does somebody want to go first? Is
think-
somebody feeling
Let's just-
ballsy?
Let's
I
go
don't
around
mind
the
going
table.
first.
Okay. You'll go first. All right, there we go.
I've got a couple.
Okay. Don, let's hear it.
I did the intro today. I'll go. I'll break the ice on this one. So I was thinking, like, what shows could we change a little bit in order to just put spotlights on things that are important to the larger person in general. And so one of the first things that crossed my mind was I would love to see an entire season of Project Runway where all the models are larger people,
Yes.
both men and women.
Ooh.
Love it.
Rather
Love
than
it.
every other or every third season, they have one episode where they have to design some pants for a fat person. You know, let's
And they throw up
just
their hands and say, they're fat. Who cares?
let's go with Project Runway Reinforced Runway Edition. You know, it's like let's get some big models on there and show really what the issues are for, you know, an entire demographic. And we are not a small demographic, you know, no pun intended. We have numbers on our side. Make fucking clothes for us that fit. A TV show that focuses on that issue, that is all about fashion, is all about clothing, is all about claiming that they want to make clothes that make people feel good about themselves.
Yes. Yeah.
While very rarely actually making clothes for anyone who looks like they need some external support to feel good
Yes.
about themselves.
You know, this is.
I
this
would
isn't-
love this.
This isn't my unique thought. I read this somewhere on social media, but it is a brilliant question. What would clothing for fat people look like if it wasn't based on clothing for thin people?
Yeah.
Like, for one thing, I don't think there'd be any pants.
Is that based on your husband or just general?
I just
knowledge?
know that that pants are one, like, if you're fat, pants are like the most troubles. I mean, I don't know. Fat guys, back me up here. Am I right or not?
Okay, so
Like, you
I
have more
don't-
trouble with pants than shirts, right?
I like pants that are well cut, like pants that are comfortable. I love wearing them.
Sure, but like the getting up, the sitting down,
Yeah, I mean, I don't have an issue with that as long as they're comfortable and cut in a way where they'll shift on my body. Most pairs of pants I find are like their butt is not designed to actually stay on my butt.
well,
when
that's
I am
kind of my
sitting
point.
down,
Exactly.
you know,
Nobody likes pants.
So if
That's my point. Nobody likes pants.
Imagine a world where pants weren't a requirement.
yeah, but I've had a year of sitting around the apartment in lovely sweatpants and wonderful, wonderful things like that, and I would love a suit made out of sweatpants material. You know, I think it would be amazing.
Oh, I think that's coming.
I think that's called a sweatsuit.
we need to
yeah,
focus.
but what tie do you wear with that? Come on.
we need to focus on
Trevor's right.
big
Trevor's right.
pants. We need to get big pants' money out of, or no, wait, big pants out of government pockets.
Want to rephrase that?
As Trevor can tell you, I'm always trying to get him out of his pants.
It's a minor twist to a show that would give, you know, a whole different demographic a way in, and I don't think it would alienate the mainstream viewing audience. I think it's a perfectly viable concept that they should.
Well, as you
consider.
pointed out, it would include the mainstream audience.
Yes,
Yeah, exactly.
100%
So,
green
Dan,
lit.
what were you thinking? We have Trevor's seal of approval on
Yes.
Project Reinforced Runway. Dan,
Okay, so I had two ideas, and so I'll start with the first one, and the second one I couldn't make work, so I'm going to ask for your help and see if you have any contributions. So the first one,
Okay.
so I was thinking about how reboots work, or at least how a lot of the like the James Bond come in, and it's usually because it's around something around a franchised series. Like there have been many James Bonds, so which James Bond do you want to slot in this time? And so I was thinking of one of the major franchise in movies, which is Jack Ryan, the John Clancy character, and Tom Clancy. And so I got to say, I've never really loved Jack Ryan. I do love the Chris Pine movie, whose name the name of the title I can't remember. But I tried to watch the series and I found it completely unwatchable. And I was wondering why. And the reason I find the series unwatchable, which is like Jack Ryan, superhuman being, is that he's just such a friggin' Mary Sue. He is so good, so perfect, so white, so privileged all the friggin' time. It's like, you know, a straight, cis, white, straight man overcomes inconvenience to attain accolades and cheers and save the world every fucking week. And so it almost becomes annoying how good he is. He makes Superman look a little, sheepish. So I think what I wanted to do is I wanted to know what would happen if you cast a fat person as Jack Ryan. And then you could talk about, well, do you want to cast a fat white man? Do you want to cast a fat black woman? Like there's a whole spectrum.
Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, exactly. There's a whole lot of stuff you can go in there because I mean, the story of, I mean, to give you an idea that like one of the stories of Jack Ryan is that he throws his back out. He is operated by the country's top neurosurgeon so that he can walk again. And he struggles with the government to discontinue his disability checks. It's like what? So that he can. Oh, by the way, and then he becomes president of the United States. I'm not joking. And so what I wanted to investigate in my reboot of this is what's it like to be a fat person who saves the world almost as an alternate identity because he's in the CIA, which is all very secret. Like in one of the novels, he can't even tell his girlfriend because they're not married. He's allowed to tell like one person and she ain't it yet. So the idea that you have this fat person who has incredible talents, skills, and resume, but outside that world, they just get treated like a fat person. And I thought that would make a really interesting investigation into the way that fat people are often undervalued, whether it be in an office setting or on an athletic field. And I think that could be a really interesting way to sort of subvert that Mary Sue-ness that the character has.
Nice. I like that idea.
I think that would be fun.
My other idea that I need help with was I really thought about, again, the franchise, and I thought about the Incredible Hulk. And there are so many squishy, weird ways it could go, and I don't know what is the best one. I don't even know if this is workable. But there's an idea of, there's a central conflict, and I admit, I am certainly not a comic book fan, but I do know a little bit about the Hulk from the little bit I know about the Hulk. And there seems to be this conflict, right, between Bruce Banner and his alter ego. It's very Jekyll and Hyde. And I read online somewhere, like somebody asked on Quora, like, what is the Hulk's biggest weakness? What is his only weakness? And the answer was Bruce Banner. And so it got me thinking about how for a lot of fat people, there's this inner-outer conflict of identity versus how you're seen. And I was wondering, and that got me thinking, well, does that mean that a fat person would Hulk out and they'd become muscular? Does it mean a fat person would Hulk out and they'd get even fatter? Does it mean it's a fit person who hulks out and gets fat? Like, I don't know what that permutation is to best serve the dialectic, but I think there's something there, but I can't make it work yet.
I see what you mean. Like, I definitely see the pieces are on the table. I wonder...
Yeah. Like each approach actually makes a different statement.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how to best put it together.
You can twist it a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's so I feel like the ultimate conclusion of the Hulk, I guess, internal struggle is that Hulk and Bruce Banner end up working in tandem. Like basically the way that he ends up in Avengers Endgame.
Mental integration.
Right. Which to me means like, okay, if you have Banner's brain and Hulk's body, then maybe Hulk should be the fat figure in this, or at least either both of them or Hulk. I don't know.
I mean, I'm thinking,
does it end up as the muscle chub? I mean, that's the. But I mean, because I don't want it to be just about amalgamating their physicality. But I mean, I get that what you're pointing to isn't just that. I understand that.
What if both sides of it was fat?
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Like both characters are fat. I don't know. I'd have to think about it because it's like the thing that I'm coming up against is like, okay, but what are you saying with that? Like, what are you saying by accident when you do that?
And because you don't want to portray like the super fat Hulk as a monster because being fat is a monstrosity. Like that's not what you want to say. So, and there's a whole different feel to watching Bruce Banner turn hyper muscular and green than there would be seeing a fit guy turn really huge and fat. That's a completely different reference.
The character of the Incredible Hulk sets up itself as a completely bipolar thing. It's the Bruce Banner, the super skinny, nerdy, weak, but super smart, educated, intelligent, versus the super chiseled, ripped, muscular, but dumb as a brick
Literally.
and
yeah.
no impulse control.
Yeah, no impulse
You know,
control.
So what you're trying to do though is you're actually trying to introduce a third pole to that dynamic, which I don't think works casually unless you remove one of the other poles and keep
Well,
it on
I
board.
agree with you. A third pole will not work. I guess what I'm trying to do is think about, well, what would the poles be if this had fat involved?
Right.
Because it wouldn't be that. You're right, and I agree with you that it has to be bipolar. Like you got to work on that dyad continuum.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to replace it. I don't know how to replace the two poles. And as Michael points out, you don't want to say stuff that you don't want to say.
Yeah,
We may need
there's
to
a
turn
lot
this
of,
one
like-
around and offer it up to the listeners.
I think we should. Yes, please, listeners,
send
help me.
in some ideas on how would. I remember a Mad Magazine article from when I was a kid making fun of the Incredible Hulk, where instead of muscular he becomes fat, and they called it the Incredible Bulk.
Yep.
Let's
played
not
for
do
laughs.
that.
Yeah, but it's played for laughs.
Let's not. Yeah,
So what would you do?
yeah. Let's hear. And while you guys brew on that, we have Trevor's idea.
Okay, I'm next. So when I was thinking about, I was really thinking about things I like, and I couldn't help but wonder if there was a Sex and the City reboot that was gay and fat. And okay, so initially my big like Galaxy Ran thing was like Brady, who was the child of Miranda. I'm like, oh, like I couldn't remember how old he was. And I'm like, oh, I feel like we're getting to the point to where he is like in his 20s. But then I forgot that everyone's actually like in their 30s at the start of Sex and the City because, it was this endless franchise. So I just kind of threw that out. But basically that the Sex and the City is returning, I think 2022. And that it would basically set up kind of this like backdoor reboot, giving us a new quartet. And the Carrie of the group would be Ben, who's a chaser, freelance photographer. We kind of meet him through interactions with Carrie. I imagine that he's doing kind of like a People of New York type project. So that's how he meets Carrie. And she kind of like becomes a bit of a mentor to him. There is the Samantha of the group, Teddy, who's a chub and Ben's ex. He's a stylist and aspiring designer and kind of has all these connections to get them into all of the events that they go to.
I love this. And he's the chub, right? Or one of the chubs.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's Megan, who's a fat Asian girl. She's pansexual. She is from an uber rich family, but trying to be an activist and very kind of conflicted with all of her various identities and how they're like
Oh, I love that.
unbalanced.
Yeah.
She's Teddy's
like
former
that a lot.
roommate. And then there's Kai, who is non-binary. At the start of the show, we see them leaving kind of one of those like mega law firms to work at the same nonprofit as Megan. So kind of looking at all of these different identities and styles of dating, all of these different sexualities and kind of the ins and outs.
What is Kai's body type?
I think that's open.
Okay.
I also feel like it's, it could be mostly colorblind casting.
I like this idea a lot.
I do too.
I feel like you could make this pretty easily. Like, obviously, you wouldn't necessarily have the Sex and the City tie-in if you didn't just have it.
Yeah.
But you could make this like on your. You could just make this like somebody out there could just go make this if they wanted to.
Gosh, who do we know that's a
And I would
filmmaker?
totally
Mike?
watch that. I'd be down. Honestly, I'd be down to work on that.
I
That
think
sounds
it's
like a really fun
genius.
project.
Yeah, like most things that come out of Trevor's head.
But yeah,
Trevor, you just got to write it now.
yes.
Michael, where are you taking us?
Oh, are we done? Okay. So my, I kind of went a different direction with this in a few different ways. I'm a movie guy, so I went with the movie. And I was trying to think of something that it wouldn't, like, the existing property had space within it where that one change of thin to fat would just recontextualize everything within it. And I was going through a few different ideas and nothing really worked. And then finally I struck upon, what if Clarice from Silence of the Lambs were fat?
Huh.
and it started like some things started.
That's good.
Thank you. Yeah, it started falling into place. I was like, okay, this is really interesting because there's some things we talked about on the show. Like, for instance, all of the victims, all of the women that are being victimized by Buffalo Bill are fat women. And so now you have their savior is also a fat woman who's sort of showing the other side of, victimhood and empowerment, which I really liked that because they kind of play into this already with Clarice being a woman. Like, and everyone is always looking down on her. Everyone's always assuming she's not going to be strong or smart or confident. And she's always having to rise above those expectations and prejudices.
Well, plus she's also young and a hillbilly. They make that point.
Right. And she has all of these things playing against her. And I feel like in the same way that society has a lot of prejudices and assumptions about fat people and their ability to be effective or to be physical in a physically demanding job, I think that it would be brilliant to see her as a fat character and sort of seeing that, playing against that stereotype, that a fat person might be meek, for instance, or stupid, which is a classic stereotype. And Clarice is a vulnerable character who fights through this really, really difficult situation in spite of all of these aspects kind of pushing against her. And I, as a chaser, would love to see the fat version of that. And I don't think it completely changes. I don't think it really changes anything else. And yet it changes everything. And there was this one specific scene, which I was struggling with a little bit, which is when you first meet Clarice in the movie, at the beginning of the movie, she's running through the woods. And I was watching a video essay years ago about this scene, which is kind of like, it's used to establish her dedication to her job. Like it's like she is training for work. And I was like, that's the one scene where I was like, I'm trying to figure out, and I thought an alternate take on that would be her at a shooting range, like practicing, because if I remember correctly, at the end of the movie, she's stuck in this room in the dark with her, she has her gun out because she's trying to save the women or the woman. I think she ends up shooting Buffalo Bill, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like in the same way, because I don't think running ever comes back. I don't think the activity of running ever really means anything in the movie. It's just metaphorical. And so I thought that would be a twist that
Just
could continue. Yeah.
To up that idea, just to play into that, rather than a shooting course, they have those live shooter ranges for training for government agents, where basically you go into a scenario room where there are actors playing the bad guys trying to get you. Literally setting up an environment where it's sort of a no-win environment that she has to go into like this, because then it's both physical, mental, and accuracy. And
and she has to, and you can show her decision making.
Yeah,
you can show like how does she handle that, and you can even establish a weakness on her part, like if she makes the wrong decision at the start of the movie, and now you have to show her at
she
the end
hesitates
of the movie.
too long because she doesn't know if it's the bad guy or not on the shooting range.
I would offer that you could keep the running, because guess what? Fat people do run. And it also sets up, there's something else there too, which is you could play the game of, yes, she's running. She's either doing it well because she does it well, or she's doing it because she's trying to fit in. And she has to go through this struggle to sort of emerge, much as the butterfly from the cocoon, that she she has to emerge from the expectation of what an FBI agent looks like into what she actually is.
Yeah. So the reason I walked away from the running was because of what I felt would be an assumption on the audience's part that she was just trying to lose weight.
I don't think that's a bad place to start.
That an audience couldn't experience.
I think
like
we
an
can
audience
combine
wouldn't be able
the two by, again, going to my live action shooter training.
Which I like that
Because
idea.
You can make that extremely physical. It's clearly for work, and it's clearly not a weight loss routine.
All right.
Like you can literally include some like obstacle course kind of stuff with that if you wanted to. So
yeah. She's having to move through the environment and hide behind cover, and I do like that idea. Yeah, that was why I walked away from it was the exercise. It wasn't because I don't think fat people can exercise. Obviously, that's not the case, and I don't believe that. It was the perception that an audience would have. Like that was part of those differences, is like, how is an
Sure.
audience going to react to this change?
I guess what I'm saying, it could be valuable to subvert that expectation. It could be valuable to trip the audience there.
Yeah. And I agree with Don. I think that's kind of the best version of this, would be having her going through like a live scenario.
Cool.
I think that would be really cool. Yeah. So that was my one sort of brainstorm. I wanted to think more about it, but I lost track of time, as they'll tell you. I was late to this call. So I was like, damn it. I wanted to do more, but I would love to watch that movie. Like I agree
with you.
I would buy tickets in advance to see that.
I brought another, but I feel like we've talked about this before.
Okay.
But so I'll just throw it out there again. But Star Trek,
Oh,
right? Just include some fucking fat characters in Star Trek because it's the future where supposedly people can pick their bodies, right?
Don, you
So
ask too much.
It just include them.
I mean,
I wouldn't mind a
we're
fat
getting there.
captain either.
We're
I
getting.
wouldn't mind a fat captain either because I think like I don't know. I think a fat captain might approach some of these situations a little differently. You know. So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there.
I feel like we're getting there though. We got Tilly. We got some fat aliens. We're
but I mean, I'm kind of with Don on this.
but we're we're inching
not to bring
closer.
inching closer. Yeah, and as much as I love to hear Don go off on the Packlids, love that rant. I do.
Fuck the Packlids. Fuck them. Fuck the writer who came up with them.
I completely agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more, and it's just fun to hear you do that, so I don't have to. But yeah, I'm with you, Don. It's just it's incredible how resistant they are to any sort of diversity of body type when it comes to human beings.
Yeah. And admittedly, like there are other body types I don't recall seeing very often, like bodybuilders. You don't see like large, broad, muscular types on there either. It's always sort of lean, muscular gymnast, swimmer, runner.
Well, and I
bodies.
think that's
So-
part of the there's a movement at the end of the 19th century called positivism, that science is just going to make us better and better. And I think in Star Trek, you see that such that, you know, in the future, in the Star Trek universe, there's no poverty, there's no homelessness, and everybody is healthy, and health looks like one thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Well.
there you go. Those are our reboots.
Yes.
What did you think?
Vote for your favorite.
Who would you
We're
reboot?
taking calls now.
And help me solve my Hulk dilemma.
Yes.
Do we have a tip today, Trevor?
We do. I didn't put it on the outline because I forgot to put it on the outline. But there is
little surprise.
a new swim line collection designed by big and tall model Zach Miko.
Good.
The line is called Mikos, and it's through King Size Direct, but also Swimsuits for All, which is kind of part of that, you know, family of brands. And they go up to the sizes go from large to 9XL.
Wonderful.
And there's
Wow.
both 5-inch and 8-inch inseams,
Excellent.
which is lovely because at first I'm like, oh, like, okay, like 8-inch, like, yeah, okay, I guess, because just, you know, the normal kind of very long fat guy shorts. But they're actually like, it's nice. Like I was pleasantly surprised because my heart did sink. I'm like, oh, King Size, like, you know, the company that seems to design stuff, or is just the company that seems to be designed by people who hate fat people. But they're actually very nice, very tropical, a lot of blues.
I can't wait to see you in them.
That's cool, though.
Yes.
Yay.
Lovely.
Nice. Yeah. So if you're going into the summertime and you want some new swimwear to show off, perhaps at an event.
I love Michael's subtle foreshadowing.
Well, are we ready for our bit?
Yes.
I think we are.
Yeah. Do you want your dessert? Okay.
We want it.
All right. So today, since we were rebooting shows in a fat sort of way, I thought we might put a little spotlight on television stars that overcame fat shaming and had the last laugh.
Ooh.
I
So
like that.
each one of these is a different TV celebrity. I'm going to give you hints that increase in obviousness. When you think you know who I'm talking about, buzz in.
Okay.
All right. Our first celebrity was told she was too fat to play herself. Has described herself as the worst ever intern to work for Conan O'Brien. Was the only woman of color producer on her
Buzz.
first hit sitcom.
Is
Buzz.
it? Oh, Buzz.
Trevor.
Mindy Kaling.
That is correct.
I was going to say
Mindy Kaling.
Too fat to play herself. Oh my God.
Yeah, when she first was sort of introduced to Hollywood, and keep in mind, she was like 21 when she actually became producer on The Office. Crazy young. But when she went to her first introduction to the networks was for a sketch show that she had written about herself and her life, I think, which eventually became the Mindy Project. And she was told, this is great product, but we can't possibly cast you to play yourself. You're far too fat.
Thanks, Hollywood. You suck.
Second, well, I think she went on to have the last laugh.
I'd say so.
Yes.
I'd say so.
All right.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Our second celebrity. She was named Miss Florida in 1974. Her husband stocked a room at home with pounds of chocolate as a dramatic way of saying he loved her for herself, not the way she looked during her long sort of body maintenance period. Her husband took a lot of flack in the press for her weight gain and was labeled an enabler when he wouldn't condemn her weight gain and continued to praise her beauty.
Buzz,
Dan,
is this Delta Burke?
you are correct,
Oh,
sir.
good for me.
Well done.
Coming out of the blue, swinging hard.
This is for I don't know if a lot of people out there will know Delta Burke. She is probably most famous for designing women. She played.
Let me finish out the
ahead.
answer the answers here. It'll outline who she is. In 1986, she was cast in the hit sitcom Designing Women. Ran for 7 seasons, but she was fired after its 5th season, due in large part to her weight gain, not exclusively. Before she left the show acknowledged the public's attention of her weight gain in a very special episode titled "They Shoot Fat Women, Don't They?" For which she was nominated for an Emmy. She did have the last laugh, though. She starred in another hit sitcom opposite her husband from 1989 to 1993 called Major Dad. And today she is a big clothing designer in New York.
and you might mention who her husband is, since isn't that Gerald McCraney?
Gerald McCraney.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who I am not a huge fan of him due to his politics, but his standing by his wife is very admirable.
Yes.
Nice.
Okay. Actor number 3. Posed with a fan after a tweet she wrote asking him to was retweeted over 25,000 times. He did so on the condition that her high school provide him with a school sweatshirt and a trombone for the photo shoot. He had a mental break when he was 25 years old and subsequently was institutionalized by his parents. Tore his Achilles tendon in 2016 while playing Achilles in Shakespeare in the Park. His best known character may be better known for his dad bod than for his law enforcement skills.
Oh,
Dan can never remember
Buzz.
his name. Michael.
David Harbour.
That is correct.
Okay.
Ha! I got one.
The final hint was he was told he was too fat to play the Blob.
There you go.
Little bit of a callback.
Call back.
Yeah, and again, on the hit show Stranger Things, his bod became an example for a new type of sexiness in Hollywood. And I think he got the last laugh.
Yeah,
I'd
and
say
he's
so.
in movies. He's doing all kinds of stuff. He's in the Black Widow movie coming out.
Oh, that's right.
Finally.
Yeah. We've been waiting so long. We teased that. That was in our first episode
Yes.
too. That was
Yep.
when we were talking about David
That's how
Harbour.
long this has
Jesus.
been going on. Yeah.
Oh man.
All right,
Guys.
we're tied
All
up right now. I've got 2 more, though. So this
All right.
one's a hard one.
Yeah, bring it on.
Celebrity number 4. She comes from an enormous family of actors, past and present, but was the first to win an Oscar. Was engaged to Thomas Jane and married him in Venice. Was told after she had just given birth she would need to lose weight to star in the new show she'd just been cast in. She refused, arguing that the character she was playing was a mother of 3, and there was no reason why she would have to lose weight to play that. The producers backed down. Her siblings are named Richmond, Alexis, Rosanna, and David. Her sister Alexis was one of the first high-profile trans people in media and was quite close to her until her death in 2016. Until Alexis's death in 2016.
Well, now I know the last name, but I have no idea who this is.
The supernatural psychic themed show that nearly refused to hire her due to her weight was quite successful and ran from 2005 to 2011, and it was called Medium.
I don't know.
It's one of the Arquettes.
The
You are
woman
correct.
from Medium.
It is one of the Arquettes.
Patricia.
Anyone want to
Arquette?
come in for a steal with the name?
Patricia Arquette?
I said
Patricia Arquette.
I said
That's
Patricia
the only
Arquette.
Arquette that I
No.
know.
Oh, I didn't hear you say Patricia.
Yeah. No, I said it
Oh,
afterwards.
my bad.
No, I said
right.
it afterwards. I get it. Mine.
Dan gets the
pulling
point.
ahead.
Well done. All right. Last celebrity. Just 3 days after she was born, her father was deported because he failed to obtain a work permit. But her mother was allowed to remain in San Francisco. Is a fan of adult film star Jeff Stryker, has spoken admiringly of him in some of her stand-up monologues.
I think I know this.
Dan,
Margaret Cho.
you are correct.
Oh my
Yay!
God.
Ah,
Yep.
Dan won. Dan won a bit.
Dan won the shit out of this
What's
one.
because
not
you
only did
picked
he
it-
win, he crushed us.
It's because you picked obscure celebrities of my era.
And for those of you who aren't familiar with why she's on the list, she is actually a great spokesperson for fat people in Hollywood, in that she was cast on the very first Asian American sitcom on TV
Absolutely.
that was based on her life, and then told she was too fat to play herself. So in order to meet producers' demands, she lost 30 pounds in 2 weeks before filming the debut episode. And the night after filming, her kidneys collapsed, causing her to be hospitalized. So this is a woman who has been to hell and back.
Yeah, but she got healthy. You know, that's the important thing there. She got
Yeah,
healthy.
no, she is in a much better place now because she doesn't have producers sitting on her head telling her she's too fat to play.
No,
herself.
I was
Losing all
joking
that
about-
weight caused her to be healthy.
Yeah,
that's what Dan's
That's
saying.
what I'm saying.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm saying talking about the
She's much
absurdity.
better off now, even without that kidney weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely, if anyone had a last laugh, it is Margaret Cho. She has gone on to have multiple hit shows, and she has done very well of herself on sitcom and movies.
And in case you're wondering, the sitcom that Don was referring to is All American Girl.
yeah, which also had a lot of other major stars in it that went on to do big things.
Yes.
B.D. Wong, Amy Hill, just lots of great talent in there.
Is this real? But I'm serious. Is this the first time Dan's won a bit?
Perhaps. Maybe not.
I wasn't going to say anything.
It's a cause
Is
for
this the
celebration.
first time anyone who isn't Trevor has won a bit?
Exactly.
know.
See, that's why I feel I can kind of gloat here, because usually I always take second banana to my husband.
We're going to pop some champagne. Michael put a sound effect here. We're all going to clink.
Yay!
Well, if you got any of those answers, please let us know. Trevor, where could they let us know which of these celebrities they know about?
Can shove it up your butt. No, I'm kidding. We're on Instagram and Twitter as @BigFatGayPod. We're on Facebook as the Big Fat Gay Podcast. Leave us 5 stars there. Leave us 5 stars and a review on Apple. We got a review back, so thank you, whoever that was.
Yay!
See the links to the articles we talked about at www.bigfatgaypod.com. Maybe you're finishing watching Mortal Kombat and you have an opinion about it, and you open your laptop and then that thing that Scorpion uses goes through your laptop screen and through your chest, and you're gonna die because it's Mortal Kombat. And then you see it's Scorpion, but he takes off his mask and it's Michael, and he says,
Mortal Kombat.
Oh, stop it.
Fight.